us about it.
Like I was saying, Northern Fjords, very high flight ceiling, pretty darn open, but there are large mountains that can be used for hard cover. Couple of specific places around the map. Also, lots of cloud cover all over the map, both high and low. So oftentimes, brawling teams will take a high stance or a low stance, move through the clouds to try and approach and brawl.
Alrighty, going ahead and checking out exactly what our ship loadouts are. The Quacklocker, the first ship for the Clamour side of things. It is a galleon piloted by Minigunner. The right-hand side is Watch a Carronade. Left-hand side is the Lumber Flak with Hades support, Lumberjack, heavy flak cannon, and that Hades on top, and a flare gun on the back. We also have Remember the Raft, piloted by Jason McMorgan. On the left-hand side, we have Hades Artemis. Front is an Artemis for the trifecta combination. And the right-hand side is your brawl side, Gatling and Mortar. Go ahead, Oracle.
And for the Sky Invading Rhinos, we have the Gilead. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'll have to ask Wound Salt.
Gilead.
All right, Gilead. Being piloted by Wound Salt. On the port side, we have Lumberjack Flak with a Hades to support, Flare on the back, and on the starboard, Carronade and Watcha. And aboard the Skolpada, a Junker being piloted by Phelan. We have a very unique build. Gap mortar on the port side, Flare on the front, and a double Merc on the starboard. I want to see exactly how this works. These Hades are very, very accurate at this range, though. I'm very impressed.
The Remember the Raft just let out a clip of them. Unfortunately, they all actually missed. They all just missed that the Skolpada, as it's been moving back and forth in a horizontal pattern.
Yeah, I think that they're aiming for the wrong target, but the Gilead is unspotted right now, so it's very difficult to land those shots. You see the Remember the Raft backing up, trying to get a spot on the Gilead.
They're trying to trace the shots, which it's very easy to trace shots with the heavy weapons that Gilead has. There it is. You can generally follow the trace of a Lumberjack and heavy flag shot back to its original target and use that to either get a spot or get a faux spot, which is just following hit markers. Gilead losing its balloon, it starts to take some pretty heavy damage there. It's going to start falling down out of the sky, but that is also going to serve to break arcs away from the Clamour, so the Gilead can go ahead and get things back together here.
Yeah, gonna take them just a minute. I mean, I was thinking that at this range, the Sky Invading Rhinos were going to dominate, but these Hades shots are being incredibly accurate. I am impressed.
Quacklocker and Remember the Raft still sitting back. They're really trying to make this a long-range engagement of the century. We really haven't seen this week, at least, or in the last couple weeks, at least from the Hammer side of things. Of course, this is a cross-division matchup, so quite naturally, we're going to see a couple different ways of going about it, as one might say. Gilead is back in the fight. He has already been spotted again, though. And I do believe Lumberjack shots are going to start coming in and pounding that balloon. Lumberjack and Hades, in fact.
Look at that.
And they're going to start dealing some damage to that galleon.
I mentioned this. Those Lumberjacks are going to be a very important part of this game. The balloons on the galleon and the Junker are very large, very easy targets. And it's going to hurt the Sky Invading Rhinos more, though. Specifically the Skolpada. The Skolpada has managed to avoid a lot of this. Like, it's just staying off on the side. The Gilead is the real threat, I think. That's kind of what the Clamour are thinking right now, and so they're focusing it down. But you see the Gilead, it loses its balloon, or it gets damaged, and it just can't do anything.
All of a sudden, it has to hold back. It has to fall back because the Skolpada isn't setting out those Artemis shots, those very consistent Artemis shots, in fact, and Hades shots as well. Instead, you have the very heavy but very slow to fire and very slow to load Mercury shots coming in. It's a much different kind of pressure. It's easier to dodge, and it's easier to deal with, in my opinion.
In some ways. Certainly in some ways. Skolpada firing off those mercs still. Look at that. It's trying to hit the Quacklocker, but Good golly, these shots are really going wide. I think it's because this Junker is moving ever so slightly, trying to remain unpredictable so that those Lumberjacks and Hades can't quite land the way that the Clamour want them to. But if those Mercs are going to land, the Junker is going to have to stay still. There we go.
Quacklocker is moving in behind
doing?
cover of the bridge.
Not cover, it's going on top of it. Armor's broken. These Mercs are landing successively, and now the Gilead has a chance to land a flak, but nope, not going to be able to get it. The spot was lost. These clouds are a bit too much. Flares have worn off, and nobody has bothered to reflare. Probably because these clouds are in the way, and neither team wants to actually throw out a flare, because a flare would just mean illuminating themselves. Because
it's such a huge risk, you don't want to take it.
Well, the way that the flare works is it deploys when it hits the first cloud it touches. Now, you see that both of these teams are hiding in the clouds, but you have a steady string of clouds between the two of them. So if they fire out a flare, it's just going to land really close to them, and it's going to illuminate themselves rather than the enemy. And that's the last thing you want.
It's going to do absolutely no good.
Now, look at this. Sky Invading Rhinos shifting their position. They're moving over to Candy Mountain over here. They want
Charlie.
Candy Mountain. I really think they want to try and get the Clamour cornered right now. You see, that's what they're doing. I mean, the Clamour doesn't have anywhere to back up to. And so what this means is that if the Sky Invading Rhinos, they get damaged, they're in trouble, they can back up behind cover, give a little bit of ground and repair everything. If the Clamour get into the same situation, they have nowhere to retreat to. And that's exactly what the Sky Invading Rhinos are trying to do right now.
Skolpata is just moving around Candy Mountain right now. Gilead is already past it. I do believe Gilead will be the first to set up and start getting shots down on the Clamour. Clamour is going to be a little hard-pressed to maneuver in this situation unless they can get towards Blue Spawn. If they can get into Blue Spawn, all of a sudden, their problems are solved.
Yeah, look at that.
The immediate problems.
I'm really glad, the Clamour are deciding to move out here. Like, see, they're booking it. Remember, the Raft is every so often pumping his engines up. You see that he keeps them very low, and then every so often he'll push him forward to keep a steady speed. Quacklocker firing out of the Skolpata. Gilead still staying pretty far away. The Skolpata is eating fire all alone, but I think it's going to be okay. The armor value on a Junker is very high, and all it has to do is move a little bit, and the hull, it becomes nigh impossible to hit. So yeah, it just backs up. It lost its spot. Now it's firing through the clouds, trying to get an idea of where the Clamour is going. You see it's firing a little bit farther ahead of where they are, trying to see if they've moved. But you see no... I think they noticed that there were no hit markers. So they're saying, you know what? I'll bet that they're holding position. And the Gilead is coming around. I wonder if it wants to use its broadside or if it just wants to get a good arc.
I can imagine using its broadside. Again, the broadside, when you have this specific setup of a galleon, you have the heavy carronade, which can eat a balloon alive. It can eat components. It can one-shot a lot of things with heavy clip in it. In addition...
there we go. There's the ranged. Gilead firing out those lumberjack shots. And the Mercs are landing on the Quacklocker. Quacklocker's armor not looking great right now. Hades going wide, but I don't think they're that worried about it. Spots get lost on the Quacklocker, and ooh, if that lumberjack had landed, the Quacklocker, oh, that landed. Hades landing on the Quacklocker, and suddenly the Gilead knows where the Quacklocker is. But remember, the Raft firing out those Hades, seeking the Gilead, and it's dropped down. It's a little bit afraid of taking too much fire. This is a sniping match, but this is a very intelligent, very calculated sniping match, and I'm enjoying this. I don't know about you.
One thing that's very important to remember about
flare.
Oh goodness, that's gonna illuminate the entirety of the Clamour team. One important thing to remember as sniper shots are going back and forth between both teams, when it comes to the lumberjack, when you're loading Lesmok ammo into it, it's very easy to pick someone off on the opposite end of the map. The arc becomes so shallow and the range becomes so intense that its predictive arc, it's very easy to hit with it. I really can't explain it in any other way. It's just, it's very easy to function in a long range setting.
Skullpata dropped down a little bit too low here, trying to dodge these shots, but now the successive ones are becoming easier to land. Lumberjack comes in. Can they pop the balloon? It's getting close. Armor's burning. But now the Gilead.
Quacklocker could lose their balloon here if another Lumberjack hits it. The balloon is sitting very low.
Right now, the only thing that's really keeping the Clamour in this fight is they're higher. They are much higher. The Skullpata cannot get those mercs going.
Quacklocker's going down. They just lost their balloon. They're going to start losing altitude here.
Ooh,
they do not have a pilot's tool to solve this problem.
No, they don't. Quacklocker dropping down. You saw the balloon was down and the mercs were going into the balloon, but since it was down, it's going straight into the hull. But there we go. Going to the armor. Armor's down. Are they going to be able to get the flak shot? I don't think that the Gilead is in arc. Oh, there was a mountain in the way. That was terrifying. But now the flare has illuminated the Quacklocker. This is very, very dangerous for the Clamour. Remember the raft, though, being targeted. There's the... Oh, no. Where's the flak? I think it was going in on the Quacklocker. Remember the raft took a little bit of damage. Armor's down. Balloon's down. Where's the flak? There it is. Oh!
It misses. It goes wide to the right.
That was close.
Just a few feet to the left, and that junker would be gone. Armor goes down. There it goes.
That's enough. Skullpata picking up the kill with a merc, oddly enough. And that's going to be it. I mean, the hull value on a junker is not great. Quacklocker losing its armor. There's the flak shot. You see it traveling slow. Oh, it just barely missed. Armor down. Once more, they have another shot. There it is. Armor comes back up just in time, and it goes wide. Both of them go wide.
They're not compensating for the speed.
So intense.
They're not compensating for the speed that Quacklocker has built up in this situation. Oh my goodness, though.
There's the flak.
Armor goes down again. Armor comes back up.
Second. Oh, so close. These flak shots are just barely going wide. Quacklocker going to survive by the skin of its teeth. 1/3 hull. But now the Remember the Raft has come in, firing out a couple shots to lock down the Gilead and Skullpata, give them something else to think about so they can't reposition too quickly. And wow, that was brutal.
Tough situation for the Ducks. Not only did they lose Remember the Raft once, Quacklocker is down to about half permahull. Now, normally you think, okay, well, half permahull, you know, they won't be able to take even a single heavy shot with a heavy flak. Can they absorb more than one heavy flak shot with that much hull?
No.
The Galleon,
my gut says no.
The Galleon may have a lot of health, but yeah, that's going to be a problem. Normally I'd say, well, the Galleon, its health pool is so massive, it might be able to absorb a second shot if armor goes down, but it's just, heavy flak does so much damage to the hull.
Yeah, that's the threat. That's what's really terrifying both teams right now. You see, the Galleons will duck away very quickly, very early, even when they're taking damage because they're afraid. No, as soon as the armor goes down, if one flak shot lands, they are in a really nasty position. Now, something that's really important to note, and another thing that is really working in the Sky Invading Rhino's favor, is the double merc is much more reliable than the Hades. So you fire out the mercs, you can generally say, okay, you know, their armor's going to go down at this rate. And if you count the seconds, you count the shots, you can predict when the heavy flak is going to come in, or like when the armor is going to go down. And you can actually fire the heavy flak before the armor goes down. So the merc shot actually travels past the flak shot, takes down the armor, then the flak lands. So there's no way to get the armor up in time. And the Sky Invading Rhinos, I think that they're coordinated enough to do something like this. We've seen them perform very well so far in this game. They picked up the first and only kill, but it was a very well-deserved kill. They had the better position, and I feel like they're playing the sniping game better.
The Sky Invading Rhinos still have a fantastic position, but if we look at how the Ducks have set themselves up, they have easy and quick access to cover using Candy Mountain. All they have to do is just quickly and gently slip behind it, and they have an instant set of protection from any shots coming in from at least a few moments. The Sky Invading Rhinos would have to completely reposition themselves just to break that cover.
So you see right here, the Gilead. There we go. I keep wanting to call it the Gilead.
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 Think Iliad, but with a G.
Well, I call it the Iliad. I kind of let that sink.
Is that a book joke?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Iliad. Well, it's the Iliad, you know.
Yeah.
The prequel to the Odyssey.
Let it sink.
Kind of. But what sink?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Skullpada moving in ever so gently, raising altitude. It looks like they're going to try and get those Artemis to bear on whatever ship they can come in arc of, but they're actually way far out of arc. Remember, the raft just coming back into arc for the Skullpada. Looks like the galleon is going to do a pretty decent job of keeping them marked while those mercs start to rain down on the junker.
So you see right now, 15 minutes remaining in the match, 1 kill. This is almost certainly going to go to the time limit. But Sky Invading Rhinos, they have a kill, and you see they're taking a position where they can. They're not really trying to get a kill. They're just trying to play defensively. This possession over here is very nice for defense. If you're not really trying to get a kill, if you're just trying to back up, there's plenty of cover. Worst case scenario, you can drop down very low. There's clouds available for escape, and you have a really nice place to retreat to off to the northwest. In case things get hairy, you can just reposition to a new battlefield and buy a little bit of time. And I think that's why the Sky Invading Rhinos have decided to hold up here.
We did just pass the 15-minute mark, folks. So about 14 minutes. Thank you, Imagine, in chat. If you guys
blocker armor down, though. Sky Invading Rhinos doing quite well with those mercs.
Skullpada was able to get really good arcs. I'm actually impressed that they were able to make those arcs, get really good arcs on the Quacklocker, just peeking around the side of Candy Mountain. And actually remember the raft completely out of arc to assist the Quacklocker at this time. As Skullpada reverses here, they're going to have better shots on Quacklocker. Armor is gone. We're tracing some of these shots in.
The flak isn't in range. The flak is not in range. I don't know if they're using. I think they're using Lesmok. I'm looking at the arc because Lesmok does reduce the bullet drop, so I think they're using Lesmok, but it's not really in range. Yeah, see, Lochnagar. Yeah, Lochnagar is using charged actually on those flak shots.
It makes sense. Charge is a very popular ammo for the flak.
Yeah, I don't think they realize. Oops. Oopsie daisy.
There goes the galleon 2-0 in favor of the Sky Invading Rhinos. Clamour just cannot get those Artemis on target today.
I was not expecting. I was not expecting for that to happen. I thought that the galleon would just back up. I mean, like you said, they had easy access to cover, but they didn't do it. The Clamour, they need to make something happen right now. It's 2-0. They have the closer range weapons. They need to start taking advantage of the map.
I have full confidence they can out brawl right now. It's just if they're willing to get in close. I like those. I like the Artemis for charging into a brawl. I really like those Artemis for charging into a brawl.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, that one Artemis on the front can disable guns on your approach. That is very true. Okay, I can see that. I don't think it's enough of an advantage because you have 2 broadsiding ships.
Mm-hmm.
2 ships that need to have that broadside facing the enemy in order to fire approaching 2 broadsiding ships. It's not going to turn out well. It's very difficult to do a full-on brawling charge. I think what the Clamour need to do in this instance is just try and get a better position. Stay high, use the clouds, even though they're being flared. Yeah, look at those flares. That's why they wanted the 2 flare guns. Is 4 active flares will illuminate the whole map.
Yep. Quacklocker, and remember the raft moving in. Quacklocker has had a non-conformational spot through the clouds.
Yeah, they're firing.
It looks like Sky Invading Rhinos can't get an exact target on it, though. Instead, they've attempted to go on against Remember the Raft. That's just not landing either, though, all things considered. So
They don't know which is which.
it looks like Clamour's
Oh,
gonna
now
have a
they
pretty
do.
easy time. Clamour's going to have a pretty easy time moving forward through these clouds.
Quacklocker has been illuminated by the flare, and the spot has gone down. And look at that focus fire. Immediately, they switch targets. Quacklocker losing its balloon already. It's not looking great. They have chem spray, so the Hades isn't going to burn it away. But it's not looking great. There we go. Lumberjack gonna hit it, and now all those Hades shots are going to go into the hull. Flak comes in just for fun.
Miss.
The armor wasn't down. Now the armor is down. Where's the flak? I think it's in range. There it is. It does land. It only did burst damage though. I think the balloon was up. Maybe that wasn't a flak. That's a flak.
Quacklocker's still taking an immense amount of fire from the Sky Invading Rhino ships. It looks like they're just continuing to focus on taking it out as best they can. Quacklocker rather loses their armor again. Hull very heavily damaged at about 1/3 health. Balloon comes back up as they bounce. Armor is back up and available. There's not much that Quacklocker really can't go down too much further before it started getting stuck in wreckage.
Yeah, this is a very dangerous place for the Clamour. I mean, the Quacklocker is going to be fighting to try and rise up again. Fortunately, the Remember the Raft has come around. It's firing down on the Gilead. It's giving that Galleon a chance to rise back up. Skullpata firing in on the Quacklocker, I believe. Yeah, they have arcs. Quacklocker is still taking a lot of damage. It's low. The flak has a good chance of landing. There it is.
Wow.
Flak takes it out. That's what we've been waiting for. Brutal. 9 minutes left. 3 kills for the Sky Invading Rhinos.
My big question is, where are those Artemis on the Remember the Raft? We should be seeing component disables all over the place. Artemis is an amazing long-range weapon. We really have not seen the Clamour utilize the Artemis yet at all.
The reason is they have burst ammo. Ooh, they drop down below that flak shot, and they're going to survive. Armor comes back up. Balloon is being neglected, though. Armor's going to go down again very quickly. Flak incoming. Oh, it goes wide, just by maybe 10 or 15 feet. Armor goes down again. Flak coming in. Oh, they're backing up, and it's saving them, but they're going to hit a ship here. And I think that the Hades is going to be enough. Ooh, that was a flak, I think. That sounded like a flak. Gadoosh. That pop is huge. There it goes.
Quacklocker is spawned back in. This is quickly turned into a rout for the Sky Invading Rhinos. They've really been able to dominate the skies with the long range firepower. I doubted. I really did doubt the double mercs coming into this, but
I didn't.
It's shown that it is able to hold up extremely well, even against something as tried and true as the double Artemis Hades.
Well, part of the reason is that the Clamour haven't really pressed the issue that much. They haven't. They've been saying it. I told you, if the Sky Invading Rhinos were able to keep the engagement at an extreme range like we're seeing, they're going to win this. The double merc is too strong. And then if they can get just at the very edge of the flak's range, that's going to be perfect. And the Clamour have been giving it to them. Like, the Clamour haven't been fighting that at all. And you saw, you mentioned, I guess I should say, you mentioned that the Artemis wasn't really doing a ton of disables. It's because the Clamour are fighting at these extreme ranges, but they have burst ammo for those Artemi.
So there's not a single person available with Lesmok?
There's one person with Lesmok on Remember the Raft. That's Arillo, but he's on the bottom with the Hades. Like, he's not using that. And the problem is these Artemi, like, Lesmok does extend the range of guns by 70%. That's huge. But burst ammo isn't going to add anything. And so they're popping early.
Gilead and Skullpata set up quite happily in the same spots they've been sitting in for the majority of this game. In this northern central region. Right now, they've moved a bit left on the map in B4. Quacklocker, Remember the Raft, sitting far, far to the south, near the archways.
So So same BT in chat giving us some hard numbers. Clamour is mid-range, 800 to 1500 meters. Sky Invading Rhinos is long range, 1500 to 2500 meters. Yep. And
So is this
Clamour are fighting in the long range, not mid-range.
Is this a situation of a mismatch based on builds?
No, not at all. I think that the Clamour are misplaying their build.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, you have the long range that's going to land shots before the Clamour get into their ideal range, and that's kind of how this is supposed to be balanced. But the Clamour are just allowing themselves to be sniped down at those extreme ranges. It's not what we need to be seeing. See how much time do we have left? 9 minutes.
We have that was
5 minutes.
We just had 5 minutes.
Thank you.
5 minutes left. Thank you, Redria, for being a very active referee on this one. Quacklocker moving in to a very solid mid-range distance. Remember the raft moving in as well. Those Artemis starting to hit the Skullpada. We have had a couple disables on it at this point, but the Quacklocker getting abused right now. Mm-hmm. They're just putting the third team is putting so much firepower into that ship.
Oh
Armor
no!
Down.
Flak! Oh, it goes wide.
My goodness!
Oh man, that damage was huge. That wasn't wide. Armor comes back up just in time. Balloon gonna go down again though, and it's over terrain. It's gonna start bouncing. Where's the flak? It's incoming, and
no.
So close. Watcher goes out. The armor comes back up. Balloon is still down though. Armor getting shredded by the terrain. Remember the raft has come in on the Gilead using the Gat mortar. Armor's down. They managed to close the distance. I was talking about them using those clouds, and that's what they did. But the Quacklocker is still bouncing. The Gilead backing up and away from that junker. Remember the raft cannot keep up with it. Armor's burning, and there it is.
5-0.
Finally. 5-0 for the Sky Invading Rhinos with a very convincing, well-fought victory.